I'm Justin Mott, and welcome to my home in Hanoi, Vietnam. If you're new here, I'm a professional photographer. I've shot over 100 assignments around the world for the New York Times. I used to be the host of a reality TV show about photography called Photo Face Off. You probably don't believe me, you probably never heard of it, but here is proof. I'm an avid Leica user, a wildlife photojournalist, and my channel is dedicated to all things photography from the perspective of a full-time working photographer. But that's not why you're here. You're not here for me. I get it. I won't take it personal. You're here for what's under here, and you actually already know what's under here because that's why you clicked on this, assuming, because it's in the title and I put the metadata on there and all that, so. All right, but let's have some fun with the reveal anyways. Today I'm going to do a very light, unsatisfying unboxing and talk to you about some of my favorite features about what's under here. This is the highly anticipated, ta-da! Oh yeah. The brand new Leica M11. So if you're interested in this camera, this is the time, this is the channel, this is the episode. Stay tuned to hear about my impressions of the Leica M11. Okay guys, as always, don't forget to check out my online store at justinmott.com where I've got presets that will not make you a better photographer, but they will add some popular images. Those start as low as $4.99. I've also got one-on-one sessions starting as low as $99 for a 1-hour one-on-one session with you and me. And I've also got prints that make great gifts for yourself, great gifts for others, starting as low as $99 with free shipping worldwide. Enough about that. I know that's not why you're here, but I had to do that little intro because I'm assuming I've got some new people today because I've never had my hands on a Leica product before it's been released before. This is the first time. It might be a new audience, so I just wanted to say hello. So just a small bit about me, just because I think it's important to know where I'm coming from, to know what I look for in a camera and how I use it. Even though we're all different, it's important to kind of know a little bit about the person who's using this camera, the person that's telling you what they like and don't like about it. I'm an editorial photographer, assignment photographer. I am working on a long-term wildlife photojournalism project documenting people around the world who dedicate their lives to animal welfare and wildlife conservation. That project is called Kindred Guardians. That project is all shot with my Leica M10D. One of my images from that project has been used in a global Leica ad campaign. This image here. I use that with Leica lenses and a backup Leica M10 for all of my assignment work, all of my personal work, and then my commercial work. I use a whole different kit for that. Well, at least I did. That might change after this. And I caught wind of this camera, or first glance at this camera, a couple weeks ago in December. At the end of the year, I taught a workshop with Leica Vietnam. I taught a Leica Masterclass in the northern mountains of Vietnam, and the country director for Leica Vietnam had his hands on this. He was picking it up at the airport, and I couldn't resist. So I asked him about it. I asked him if I could borrow it before the camera was released and do a little test on it. And I've actually done a field test with this camera as well. Yesterday I went out and used it. And I'll do a whole separate episode about field testing the camera where I show you some pictures of my experience using it. But today, just a light unboxing, an unsatisfying unboxing. And really, I'm just gonna talk about a few of the features that really do stand out to me, a few of the features that really do matter to me. If you're here for a tech review, if you're here for a side-by-side comparison against this, against the Q2, this against the M10, this against the M10R, all that kind of stuff, I'm not your guy for that. That's not me. There's other people that do that much better. I'm not going to use this camera for 5 minutes around my house, show you really bad pictures of my pets or really bad like still life shots and make you suffer through that. And nothing wrong against taking pictures of your pets. I do it all the time. Take pictures of my dogs. They just don't end up in my gear reviews. That's not really how I test my cameras. That's not really how I use my cameras professionally. So that's my perspective. That's a bit about who I am. Let's open this up. Let's see what's inside. Let's hear about my first impressions. So here is a light unboxing. Now this isn't going to be like zoom in, all that kind of stuff. Again, people do that better than me. I don't even have all the original packaging in here. I'm just going to quickly go through what comes inside of this here. So you open up the box here. You've got your normal stuff, your pamphlets that nobody reads. You've got a bunch of wires. You've got styrofoam packaging. I'm just going to give you some of the basics here. So this comes with a traditional USB cable to USB-C, and you can use this to connect the camera directly now because it does have a USB-C port on the side. You can connect it there. It also comes with a USB-C to lightning cable here. This is actually kind of interesting, a little bit more interesting than you might think at first glance. First of all, the cable, the braided cable is quite nice. It's premium quality. It's something that, it's little, but it's something like you're buying a really expensive camera. Why not have a really nice cable? And it does. I'd love to see like a little red accent here. That would be kind of nice, or even a red cable. Ooh, that could be nice. But, you know, little touches here, nice little braided cable, nice little Velcro thing here to keep it organized. Why this is interesting is because you can connect your camera directly to your iPad. So you can now no longer actually need a laptop to work on your photos. I mean, I still do, but you could actually go out in the field, use an iPad, connect this to your iPad. You don't even need memory cards anymore, and I'll talk about that little feature later. You could go out with your iPad and your camera, and that's it, and that's kind of appealing. So USB-C to Lightning cable here. It's got your traditional Leica strap. I'm not a big fan of these straps. Nothing wrong with them. I just prefer a different braided strap that I use on my Leicas. I'll put a link to those in the description box for those of you strap people out there. But nothing wrong with that, just your traditional standard strap there. It also comes with a wall charger here, so you connect this to the wall, use your traditional USB cable there to USB-C, and you can charge your camera directly with this. And the last thing, which is kind of interesting to me, not kind of interesting, it's actually really interesting to me, the brand new battery system, which I'm going to go into more in depth about that later. But the brand new battery system comes with a brand new charger, and it's small, and I love that. One of the reasons I love Leica, not the only reason, but one of the big reasons I love Leica is it doesn't take up a lot of real estate in my bag, doesn't take up a lot of real estate when I pack and travel, but their chargers always have. Their chargers for the M10, their chargers for the SL, chargers for the Q, they're huge, they're gigantic, and as a professional, even as an amateur, whenever I travel, I have two of everything. So two of those chargers takes up just about as much space as almost like two camera bodies. That's no longer a problem. This charger is tiny. It's got a USB-C outlet on the back. Again, I like that because I've got a lot of USB-C cables because I'm a Apple person. I've got a ton of those cables anyways, and I hate to carry too many cables. I like to just use like two cables for like 4 different things and separate when I need to just reduce clutter. So this is really appealing to me. This is actually very appealing to me. It's a tiny, tiny charger, and two of these don't take up much space. Two of these are actually going to still be smaller than one of your old chargers. And then last, the fun part, the exciting part comes with this body here, not this strap. This is my strap here, which I really like. This is the body. This is the M11 right here. At first glance, it's going to look exactly like an M10. I will go through some of the aesthetic differences later on, but that is the body, and I'm going to clear this out of the way now. Let's get into the features. I'll get into what I'm interested in, what stands out to me. Okay, here we go. It does not come with this beautiful 35 Summilux on here. This is mine, doesn't come with it, although that would be nice. That would be nice if they started to include a beautiful lens for that price, but that's wishful thinking. So first impressions in your hand, if you pick this up, you wouldn't know right away it's an M11. You wouldn't know it's a brand new camera. That to me is not a bad thing. The Leica M10 heritage there, the design of it, there's no need to change it. It's perfect how it is. Where this camera gets interesting is what's inside. So this is obviously the silver model. You can buy it in black as well. Just to compare it, just show you side by side, this is an M10 here in silver. Again, at first glance from the top, it looks almost identical. From the back, it looks almost identical. From the front, it looks almost identical. Yes, you have the new placement of the little focus preview in the front here on the M10, and on the M11, it's on the top here. But where it gets interesting and the major difference is going to be this new bottom plate here, this battery system here. And I'm going to talk more in depth about the battery system in a moment. So I'm going to start with the features that really stand out to me. There's plenty more features on there. You can go to the Leica website. You can check out someone that does full side-by-side or full analysis of every single brand new feature. So first, the price. You guys are interested in that. Everyone's interested in that. It's not like a feature I'm going to talk about, but just to get the price out there, it's coming in at 8,350 euros or $9,450. That is a ton of money. That is a whole separate conversation. That is something I don't really like to talk about. It's just everyone's too different. Everyone looks for different things in their camera. Everyone has a different budget. All those things is too many variables for me to discuss with you guys. So if you want to have a debate about that, you can in the comment section. It does help my engagement, helps my channel a lot. If you're going to get vulgar, which some of you do when it comes to price, you get like really angry, I'll delete it, or I'm not going to engage. Sorry, it's just not my thing. You're welcome to talk about price in there, and you guys can debate on there. That's fine. I totally understand that. It's just not something I like to talk about. The first thing that stands out to me is obviously that brand new 60 megapixel sensor, or 60.3 megapixel sensor. Wow. I mean, just wow. That is a beast of a sensor. Now, if you're coming from an M10R, it's not a gigantic upgrade, but it's still a significant upgrade. If you're coming from an M10D or an M10, yeah, that's a huge boost right there. That puts this now in the realm of commercial photography. I mean, you could still use the other camera for commercial photography, but this you could really print huge files. And if you really, really like to zoom in on the details, if you really like to crop your images, this is going to be a beast for that. So a whopping 60.3 megapixels, to me, for my editorial work, for my personal work, not that big of a deal. I'm very satisfied with the files out of the M10D, but if I were to use it for commercial work, or if I was going to shoot specifically for prints, then it gets really interesting. But where it truly gets interesting and what really appeals to me now is this brand new sensor system, the new algorithm that they use that allows you to shoot 3 different modes, small, medium, and large, and still get full use of the sensor at each one of those modes. So you've got the large mode coming in at 60.3 megapixels. Again, like I said, great for those of you out there that can see using this for commercial work, anyone out there that wants to print their images, anyone that really does care about those details and really loves a high megapixel camera, that's fantastic. It's got the medium mode coming in at 36.5 megapixels. That's probably the sweet spot for me. That's probably how I'd use it the most, just because that will give them the option to print. It gives the option for commercial work. It just gives me a great file that I can kind of grow into, but it's not going to totally eat up my memory card. It's not going to totally eat up my hard drive. It's not going to totally slow down my laptop. Again, you guys, when you start using those bigger files, you start shooting at higher megapixels, you know, you need to upgrade everything else. You need to upgrade to more storage space. You need a laptop that can handle it. You need memory cards that can handle it. So anyway, the 36.5 megapixel, that would be great for a lot of my assignment work. I could see myself probably using that file the most. Then you've got the small file at 18.4 megapixels. That I could see coming in handy for those of you wedding photographers out there that are brave enough to shoot with a manual focus camera. Bravo to you, I applaud that. Anyone out there that's going to use this camera professionally but also personally, you don't always need those gigantic files when you're just taking those pictures of your cats or things like that, or pictures of your family, like you might print but you're not going to print like gigantic, or if you just get an assignment or shooting documentary and you shoot a lot, like if you're one of those people that shoots a ton and you really don't think you're going to need those really big files, you don't want those clogging up the space, just nice to have that option. So you've got those 3 different options. Leica claims with their advanced algorithm you're going to get the full array of the sensor at each mode, so it's not like a crop thing where you're getting like a really bad sensor in the small mode. Each different sensor is going to give you a beautiful file and it's all going to have a unique look to it. So that's probably the most interesting feature to me right away. Not the fact that it has 60 megapixels alone. I mean, that's wonderful, but the fact that you can have those different options, because I'm a versatile shooter. I shoot a bit of everything. Sometimes I'm shooting an assignment for a magazine. I was just doing a New York Times assignment. I know I don't need a giant print file, right? I just know I don't. I need a file that can print in the newspaper. I need a good file for online, but I don't need 60 megapixels. But sometimes I'm doing a cover shoot, I'm shooting for the Smithsonian, doing a story about elephant collaring in Myanmar. That would have been a nice option to have. I knew they wanted me to shoot for the cover, and so it would have been nice to have that option. You know, everything else I was shooting for the story, fine at that 36 megapixels, or even the 18 would have been okay. But for the cover shot, I could have switched over and had that file for that. Also, just in general, sometimes I'm shooting documentary, I'm working on my Kindred Guardians project, but I see a picture that might work really well for print. Maybe it's just like a black and white shot, a detail shot of one of the rhinos or something like that. And I know, oh, that would work well for like a really big print. Whereas like the everyday shots and the documentary shots, probably not going to print those that big. So the fact that it has those different options and you're still going to get a great quality file, that is extremely appealing to me. The next feature that stands out to me is this brand new battery system. Now they've adopted the quick release system similar to the SL for those of you that are using that. Now there's no longer that plate that you have on the old M's that I have on my M10 and my M10D, that little twisty thing and you pull the plate off, and the first week it's really nostalgic and you think it's really cool because you have that analog feel on a digital camera. But then like a month into it, when you're using it all the time, it's a pain to change. It's not fast and things happen fast and it's just kind of cumbersome to use. Now, that's no longer a problem. Boom, quick release here. You hit that little switch there, do a little tap on the battery, it comes out. The SL system has been using something like this and it works fantastic. And I don't feel like it takes away at all from the aesthetic of the camera. I mean, yeah, you film people there, you're gonna like that feel and all that, but I just don't see the use of it. It's still flush, it's still beautiful, it still has a great look to it, but now just boom, quick button there, this pops out, quick release, change your battery. Now it doesn't come with this black tape on here. Leica put this on here just to prevent any scratches while I use it, because they know I like physically use my cameras when I go out, so I think they're afraid of me, so they taped it up. Surprised they didn't tape up the whole camera. So obviously won't have the tape there, but again, quick release, boom, pops out, easy to change, not as cumbersome as the last system. And it's not just the quick release system, it's a brand new battery system altogether. Now for some of you, that is a nuisance because you've invested in M10 batteries, and you might have like 3 extra batteries and you hope to use them in your other cameras with the new battery system. You have to buy new batteries. That's a bummer, that's a downside, but it's a brand new battery system, again with that new charger, which I really, really love. I know it sounds weird, but I love how tiny that little charger is. And as far as quality of the battery, it's going to be 1800 mAh. Leica claims approximately 700 shots in accordance with the CIPA standard in rangefinder mode. and up to approximately 1,700 shots in the Leica adapted shooting cycles. You're gonna get a significant amount of images out of this battery. It's a significant upgrade to the past battery, not just in the aesthetic, but in the performance as well. So for me, that feature is rather interesting. Also, while I'm talking about the bottom plate here in the system here, you do have the USB connector here, so you can charge the camera, so you can transfer files here. That is on the bottom. Not sure how I feel about that at first glance, actually, because when you put the camera down, you're gonna have to like rest it on there, or you'd rest it on the side or rest it upside down. Not a huge deal, and maybe aesthetically it's more beautiful there, but it'd be more practical on the side here. But I don't know, through time I'd have to figure out which one's better. I understand why they put it there. Camera, I know you people out there, if you're a Sony user, a Nikon user, Canon user, you're always expecting like all these like wow updates. For me, I like that Leica's making these subtle improvements. They're always looking for ways to improve it, but they're not like going for that wow factor and changing things that already are working well. I dig that about them. Moving on to the next feature that stands out to me is the brand new 64 gig internal memory storage system. Love it, absolutely love it. It's just so genius. I wish all camera models did this. I hope they adapt this to all the other Leica systems, to the Q, to the SL moving forward. It's great to have. It's one of those things that you don't think about, you don't care about until you actually use it. Things go wrong with memory cards. Sometimes you don't even want to deal with memory cards. It's one extra step in this fast-paced world. It's one extra thing to do, one extra thing to bring. Now you don't have to worry about that anymore. You have that insurance, you have that peace of mind now. If something went wrong with one of your memory cards, or things got stolen, whatever, things go wrong. And honestly, like, they don't go wrong often if you're well prepared, but it happens. And once is too many times. Now you never have to worry about that. Forgetting a memory card, losing your cards, damaged cards, stolen cards, anything like that, no longer a problem. Of course, I always recommend you have cards in different places, one card in the camera, backup cards, all that kind of stuff, you guys. But again, we all make mistakes and things do happen, and now you don't have to worry about that. The other appeal is to have the internal 64 gig storage. It's, yeah, no need for a memory card really. If you wanted to just go out and shoot for the day, no need for a memory card, no need for a card reader, things like that. You could just transfer this directly into your iPad or into your phone. That's another thing that's really appealing. If you're a street shooter and you want to go out for the day, you don't want to take your laptop, you don't want to take a card reader, extra accessories, you want to leave your house with your camera and that's it. Of course, yes, you can use the Wi-Fi mode and transfer things that way through the app, but this is just another option to have less things to carry, so that is really appealing to me. I do wish they went with 128 gigs, just because I think if you were shooting at that 60.3 megapixels quite often, you might want those extra shots. So 128 gigs would be nice. Then you're gonna say, well, 256 is nice, so it's never gonna end. So 64, it's a good start. Again, the little things, or it seems like something little, but for me, that's really important. One time is too many times for things to go wrong with a memory card, so just the fact that you have that insurance policy with this, for amateurs, for professionals, anyone out there, it's just a nice little feature that I really do appreciate. So the last thing that stands out to me about the brand new Leica M11 is that it is now marketed towards, but not just marketed towards, it's actually built towards people that want to shoot in bright light. All cameras are always marketing, and all street photography cameras especially, always trumpeting their low light specifications. And this is great in low light. You can shoot at 50,000 ISO. That's nice, that's plenty. You're not gonna need more than that. It's gonna be fully capable in low light, but now it's fully capable for bright light. And if you're like me, you have wide aperture lens for a reason, and you like to shoot wide open. You just like the look. Like, I shoot a lot with the 35-1.4, and I shoot a lot at 1.4. If you're lucky enough, if you're privileged enough to have a Noctilux out there and you like to shoot sub 1, as I like to call it, you run into that problem where your limitations on the shutter and the mechanical shutter. Now you can shoot with the electronic shutter at 1/16,000th of a second. So now there's no longer that problem of shooting in bright light. Again, I love shooting early in the morning. I love shooting in nighttime. I don't like to shoot in really bright conditions, but I'm a professional photographer. Sometimes I have to. Sometimes I have to go out and shoot there in the middle of the day, and often I want to shoot wide open, and I've run into that problem before. I don't like to use ND filters, and I want to shoot wide open, but I can't. Now I can. I can use the electronic shutter, and I can shoot at 1/16,000th of a second, and I'm gonna have no issues there shooting wide open, shooting at 1.4, or you sub 1 people out there. In addition to that, that's not the only feature that it gives to people that like to shoot in bright light. You can also shoot now at 64 ISO. That's right, I said 64 ISO. That is rather interesting to me. You're gonna get a great file out of it, and it's gonna allow you to shoot in brighter light conditions. So those two features for you wide open shooters out there, for you bright light shooters out there, it's nice. These little subtle things are actually talking to photographers. They're thinking about photographers. They're taking our feedback and they're thinking about different ways that we all use the cameras, and they're applying it to their new models, and I really do appreciate that. So those are the main features that stand out. There's a lot of other things to dive into. Leica claims a more natural color reproduction. There's a new metering system. There's all sorts of other features that I'm not going to dive into. Those are the things that stand out to me because those are what matters to me, and I only really like to talk about what I'm interested in and what matters to me and things that I'll actually use and how I'm going to actually use them. So overall, no design change, but for me, no problem whatsoever. I love the app, I love the design, and the small design change is actually a huge upgrade for me. The new battery system, the quick release, the whoop, whoop, 2 steps there, done. Absolutely love it. So that little design change is a big deal for me. The brand new battery system, getting more shots out of the battery. Yes, bummer, you can't use your old batteries. Love the new battery system, love you get more shots. Love the small real estate of the new charger. Oh, those little things matter to me. But brand new sensor, all those different options. So if you're a versatile shooter out there, you shoot a bit of everything, or even on the same day, you shoot different types of work within the same day, it's nice to have that option. So overall, should you buy this camera? I can't tell you that. Again, too many things to think about. I don't know you. I don't know what you're shooting. I don't know what you're shooting now, what you're gonna grow into shooting. I don't know your budget, all that kind of stuff. Would I personally buy this camera? Probably not right now because I've been using the M10D. That's a whole different look. I wouldn't say that like competes with this camera. It's a whole different feel, a whole different experience. If I was just starting fresh with Leica, no Leicas at all, and I wanted one camera that could do everything, street photography, documentary photography, a little bit of commercial work, a personal camera, yeah, this would be awesome. It has the capabilities to do everything. The design is perfect, the functionality is perfect, not much has changed from the outside, but inside this camera is a beast. It gives you a whole bunch of different options with that brand new sensor and sensor system with the 3 different modes. So yeah, I could see a lot of ways to use this camera. You know, again, I like to talk about not backup cameras, but complementary cameras. Sometimes people shoot with different combinations. For a lot of you out there that I've done my one-on-one sessions, a lot of you out there that I talk in the comment section with, you have like an SL or you have a Q, you might have an SL and a Q, you might have an M10 and a Q. So you're always thinking about ways that you can mix and match those things for different types of photography. Personally, I could see this being handy if I shot all my commercial work, which is something I've been considering with the Leica SL. Currently, for all my commercial work, all my hotel work, I use a Hasselblad system, a medium format system, the X1D. And you know, not really fair to compare the medium format sensor to an SL, but you know, I've been considering, do I really need the power of that sensor? Would it be better for me to have a better performance camera, better autofocus camera like the SL, and using the high megapixel SL2, and then use that and complement with a camera like this? There's so many different ways to mix and match. I don't want to go through them all, but that's an option for me. Like say I switched all my commercial work, my studio work, my location work to an SL2 system, a high megapixel full frame camera. Could I still get the file out of that I needed? Maybe. And you know, as a commercial photographer, you need 2 of everything. You need a backup of everything. And it's not always fun to buy 2 of the same camera. So could this work well with that? I see a possibility there. Now, I don't always need autofocus. And sometimes I'm shooting my commercial work in a very editorial or documentary way. And this could be really nice for that. This could complement that well, because then I could crank that up to 60 megapixels for my commercial shoots. When I want to work with that camera instead of the SL, or again as a backup, then when I want to go off and do my personal project work or my assignment work, this would be my main camera, and the SL could be my backup camera. Again, using that adapter so I can use my M lenses. So there's so many different ways to mix and match with Leica. I really do like it. It's something I don't talk about enough. It's something people don't talk about enough, but they're really building this ecosystem. Good for them, because they're kind of making you want to buy 2 cameras, but 2 different cameras, but they can complement each other well. There's a lot of crossover. Some work well for video, some work well as an everyday camera, some more for commercial, editorial, but you can really mix and match, and out of 2 cameras get a whole bunch of different camera systems. And that's the way I look at Leica. That's the way I view their ecosystem. And this camera I could see working well within that system of how I work. Personal work, editorial work, but also commercial work as well. So that's my long initial impressions of the brand new Leica M11. Thank you to Leica Vietnam for letting me borrow this. I just went out yesterday and field tested this camera at a bamboo village here in Vietnam. That was a lot of fun. And I'll do a follow-up episode shortly where I'm gonna show you some of the files that I took with this camera and really dive into those files. I just wanna take some time to actually go through them, do some comparisons. Again, not a technical review. I don't do stuff like that, but I will show you some of the files I took with the camera. I'll give you more of my impressions of actually using it out in the field. That will be coming up very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening to me rant so long about this camera. I really appreciate it, guys. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to this community. We have built quite a nice community. You can check out other episodes, my monthly contest, all that kind of stuff. Again, you can check out justinmott.com for all that stuff that I talked about earlier if you're interested in that stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to have a wonderful day.